At Seattle Atheist Church, the members ourselves give the talks. We have a planning meeting every quarter that's open to everyone. And there you can suggest a talk you'd like to give. And today I would like to welcome Clyde, who's giving a talk on highly sensitive people. Please join me in welcoming Clyde.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Clyde, and I am 68 years old, or young, depending on how you like to think about it. About a year and a half ago, I started an attempt to make sense of my life, and 6 months ago discovered that I am a highly sensitive person, or HSP. I had never heard of such a thing, and yet I am one. Now, understanding that I am HSP brings understanding to why I function in the ways I do. One of the traits of some HSPs is being frustrated when watched. I have that trait, so I will be reading my talk, otherwise what I want to say will get all messed up. HSPs are 15 to 20% of people, male and female. This trait has been observed in over 100 higher species. About 70% introverts and 30% extroverts. Making no reference to anything supernatural because it is explained by science, but HSPs can also be identified as or called empaths, mystics, and old souls, only because they pick up on subtle emotional clues from people and can identify to some extent how others are feeling and what they might be thinking. There is a believed evolutionary advantage to being HSP in that HSPs tend to observe a situation before walking into it and then take time to process the information that was taken in. Computer models have shown that doing this is an advantage by having a better outcome over time. But if there are too many, then it detracts from the advantage, so maybe 15 to 20% is what it's supposed to be. Some science first, just to qualify that this is not just an opinion. Some genes are different for HSPs. We are born this way. These genes cause serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine to be utilized and processed differently. Serotonin helps to stabilize mood. The gene variant moves serotonin out of the brain, so HSPs do not have as much. It can make childhood more difficult for those not raised in the best environment, while those in a nurturing environment thrive. Dopamine, the brain's feel-good reward. HSPs do not get as much. So loud noises or large groups are not exciting, but rather annoying and exhausting. Norepinephrine and the emotional vividness gene. So things are louder and brighter, and HSPs usually pick up emotional undercurrents. This also causes memories to be more vivid and to be present longer, which leads to over-processing. This information about genes is from a website called highlysensitiverefuge.com. There are links there that can take you to other information. As this applies to me, I am extremely interested, mostly because I have felt like being crammed into a box that I did not fit in my entire life. This brings me to the mention of neural diversity. We are one species, but we are not all just carbon copies, pun intended, stamped out as if using a cookie cutter. But to me, it seems that societies would prefer it to be so. An example would be that I was going to write with my left hand. When my dad found out about it, holy crap, you would have thought that writing with my left hand would mean that I would turn out to be like Jack the Ripper or worse. So I was forced to write with my right hand. Nowadays, I do not believe it is a thing, whether a person wants to write with their left or right hand. But this very well may be a moot point anyway, as it is becoming a lost art. The new form of communication will probably be emojis or hieroglyphics. One more little bit on diversity. We may look different, sound different, have different cultures, but we are only one species, living on a floating ball, a terrarium in space. We have to accept diversity. Home is getting smaller all the time, and there is no plan B. So I found a website that lists 31 traits of HSPs. These are just one-liners. I'll read them, and then at the end, I'll say whether it applies to me or not. Number 1, deep processing of information. Yes. Number 2, picks up subtle things in process of learning. Yep. Number 3, not able to learn well when over-aroused. Yep. Number 4, loyal, hardworking, and thoughtful. Mostly. Depends on the situation. Good at tasks that need deep concentration and focus. Yep. Number 6, accomplished tasks with great accuracy, detail, and speed. Probably all but the speed. Very painstaking. Yeah, perfection's a real pain. Number 8, good at fine motor movements. Yep. Number 9, more affected by caffeine. Well, used to be until I consumed a bunch of it. Number 10, can be still for longer periods of time. Yes. Number 11, creative and imaginative by nature. Yes. Number 12, takes time to come out from the effect of some sort of stimulus. Yep. Number 13, can understand human emotions deeper than other people. I'd like to imagine so. Number 14, better at finding and avoiding errors. Yep. Number 15, does not give his or her best when being watched. Absolutely. 16, works well when the situation is calm and relaxed, dislikes pressure. Absolutely. Number 17, tends to mix less with other people. Yes. Number 18, prefers to feel and experience quietly by him or herself. Yes. Number 19, is a great organizer. This is one of the most positive traits of an HSP. Yes. Number 20, is caring and compassionate. This trait makes the company of such a person wonderful. I wouldn't know. Number 21, inclines towards spirituality. depends on the definition of spirituality. Incredible sense of aesthetics. I'd like to think so. 23, concern for the environment. Absolutely. 24, sense of appreciation for nature, art, and music. Yes. Notice subtleties like change in a person's appearance or some object having been moved. Yeah, a little bit. Performs well in the presence of known people. Yeah, I do better then. 27, prefers to play quietly and by him or herself. Yes. 28, asks deep and thought-provoking questions. I guess. 29, gets easily disturbed by loud noises. Absolutely. Standing there at the microwave so the beeper doesn't go off. It beeps 5 times at a very annoying pitch. 30, reads the mind and mood of others. Well, I think taking guesses would be a better term. 31, is able to notice the slightest unusual smell. Well, a little bit. So that was the end of the list. Elaine N. Aaron, PhD, published her book, The Highly Sensitive Person, in 1996. This was the first source of information I came across. Other information has come from several other books, websites, Facebook groups, Wikipedia, YouTube, and a lifetime of personal experiences viewed from a retrospective perspective. Well, that's the end of the talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Clyde. Let's give Clyde a round of applause. Appreciation. Really do appreciate you being here and offering to give your talk. It's our tradition now to gather in a circle for group discussion. During the time of COVID, what that looks like is please raise your hand and we'll just go in the order that we see hands raised.